Hello my beautiful makeup lovers, thank you so much for tuning in with me today and a very warm welcome to my channel. So, as my title already says, this is my introduction to my low-buy year 2019. Before I get into all the things like why I'm doing this, what are my rules, etc., let me give you a little bit of quick info on, a couple of things, how I arrived here. So, I was planning actually not to include this like as a specific topic in my channel. Like I didn't want to make a video initially announcing it and then doing this whole like making it a thing on my channel, but then I thought, okay, actually it is gonna affect the content that I'm gonna do in some way. We're gonna get to this later. And also I did once a video on tips or inspiration on how to buy less makeup, I believe, and I got a lot of comments from you guys like engaging into this conversation, and so I thought it would be nice if we could make this a space where we can talk about this kind of things. It doesn't mean that you have to now go on a low buy in order to be able to enjoy my channel or anyway, but it just means like if you want a place to come to talk about these things, I wanted to let you know that this is a place that you can come to. And yeah, so I would also of course love to keep on chatting with you about it. You don't have to do it in the comments, you can DM me on Instagram as well if you want, or I think you can also write someone a message here on YouTube actually. So as you wish, in any way you want to, I'm open for it. I'm really looking for the conversation on that. And just so you let you know that that's why I'm actually announcing it in this way. And also a little bit of a disclaimer. So a low buy for me obviously means something different than it means maybe to someone else. So what I consider maybe buying low, like not too much, is for other people still more. They're gonna say like, I buy more makeup, like I'm stumbling over my words. So some people might think like, okay, you still buy more than I buy in 5 years, and other people say like, what you buy in 1 year, I'm buying in 1 week. I don't know, like, it's really, it's a low buy that fits me, that is tailored towards what I want to do, and that's what I do it in the way that I want to do it and how I'm going to explain it. And if you want to do a low buy, or if you don't do a low buy, I'm not here to give like guidelines how you have to do it. I'm just giving you like the thought process on how I arrived on the style that I want to do it. So obviously I'm not the first person in the world who's gonna do this, obviously not. There have been actually quite some channels that I've been watching since some time announcing low buys or even no buys, and I have been watching over the last 4 months more or less, let's say. I've been watching like a lot of different videos, not necessarily just one channel, but different videos on no buys, on project panning, on low buys, on makeup rehab, stuff like that. So I was really kind of, inspired by this obviously, but I don't really have a specific channel that I am inspired by, to be entirely honest. So let's jump into the low buy. I think everything you're gonna do has to have reasons why. You have to have a motivation, you have to have goals why you want to do it, because I'm a person who does a lot of things out of curiosity. I'm someone who says like, oh, I want to try this, and then I'm trying it and I'm like, meh. I shy away from it because I'm like, oh no, it's not as cool as I thought. On the other hand, I am someone, if I set myself something like a low buy year, I am very, very determined to do it, like I feel bad if I don't fulfill it 1 year. So I really need it for me to find a different motivation rather than curiosity in order to be able to go through this. And I've been thinking about doing a low buy year since like maybe 2 months now, maybe less, I don't know, around this time. And I wanted to really make sure to find good enough motivations for me that I actually will be able to stick to it, and other motivations that are not curiosity, how it feels, because that's not a good enough motivation. Because if it feels like nothing, then I'm not gonna go through with this. But I found a lot of points actually why I want to do this, so I'm pretty sure that I have a good grip on this, and let's go through this. So my first motivation on this is definitely getting, so the first 2 points go a bit together. So I want to get better in curating my own collection. So because sometimes I noticed by myself that I sometimes pick out items thinking, oh, this is gonna make a really nice addition. I don't have these shades yet, or I don't have this finish yet, or whatever, and then I end up getting it. And besides the fact that, of course, in the internet it always looks a bit different than it does when it arrives, but still I'm like, oh no, actually I totally have that. I don't know, like I sometimes make not a good, really good choices on how to extend my collection, which also pairs with my curiosity. Just sometimes I try something out of curiosity, but I want to get really good in actually selecting what is actually bringing a bit more, bringing a new highlight into my collection, or could possibly be really something new in my collection. So I really want to get better at this, and if I set myself certain rules on not to buy so much, I'm kind of confident that I make naturally better choices on what those items are going to be that I'm buying. So the next thing goes together with this first thing. So the second reason is I want to get in general better grip on my collection, because I'm really bad on curating my collection, because as embarrassing maybe as this is, but I am sometimes not really aware what is in my collection. So you know this moment when, I mean, maybe you don't know it, and then very good that you don't know this moment. I browse through my collection of, most of the time it's eyeshadow palettes, and I'm like, oh, I have this palette. I didn't remember that. And that's something I don't want anymore. I want to be having a better grip on my collection in order also to fulfill the first point, to be better at curating my collection, to add new items. So those go a bit together, of course. And I just want to be aware better of what do I actually have, so I can actually, you know, have a bit better in mind what are my possibilities with that. So that's 2 reasons why I want to do this. Thirdly, I want to also, I hope when I achieve the first 2 points, if I do, that I'm gonna be more creative with my collection. Like, in a sense, I'm really someone who is like a palette by palette look maker. Look, you already see I'm speaking about palettes, so obviously my biggest buying point is always eyeshadow palettes, so that's why I have this already in my mind. But I want to get more creative with the things that I have, so I'm not this palette by palette person, that I'm getting better at knowing what I'll have and then be more creative between the palettes, drawing in singles and everything. So I just want to have this feeling of really digging into my collection and using what I have and be creative with it. In a sense also that when I see a new palette that is released, getting into my collection and see like, I already have this palette, maybe not in one, but in some way I'm having it, so let's get this out. Sorry, I had to make a quick break because the dog was going a bit crazy. I was saying that I want to get more creatively involved with my palettes, and that I think I can only achieve this by the first 2 points that I already mentioned, and you know, break a bit this circle of like getting new creative input by buying just a new palette and be like, okay, there's already this thing that gives me new input, and I really want to get this creative input already from my collection. So next thing, of course, which is always a thing, I don't really have to do that, but I don't want to, it's not really I want to save money, but I don't want to spend that much money anymore on makeup. It's not, I never got on this point that I actually got myself into financial trouble or anything to be able to buy a makeup item. I never went that far, and I would never do that. So I am really, you know, like still on the point that I think I could still spend a little less, you know, because there's so many nice things you can do in life, and most of the time for all of them you need money. So I would like to save a little bit more on that, you know, also for the future, whatever, you never know what's coming. So that's also, it's not a really big point, but it's something, And yeah, like the last thing that I already mentioned is getting like more use of what I already have, in a sense of being a little bit less wasteful on, like, of course, like all these makeup items that I buy, you know, like all those palettes that always come with those plastic sheets and stuff, you know, that go to the trash most of the time. Like, I don't want to, you know, I want to be a bit more mindful about the waste that I produce. I am actually very mindful about the waste that I produce in the other parts of my life, but in makeup somehow I'm not, and I really want to bring this a bit synchronized. So that's also something personally really important to me. So yeah, these were basically my motivational points. I don't know, maybe throughout the year I'll discover other motivational points, because sometimes you really find motivation in something by doing it. So I will see. If I find a new point of motivation, I'll let you know. But so far I only have those. Okay, I have my notes here, that's why I'm always looking down. So of course I put myself rules. And actually I am not going, like, I thought I'm gonna divide this by makeup items types, like makeup product types. So everything you need to do a full face of makeup. And I decided that some product types I will do actually a no buy on. That means that I have certain product types that you need for a full face of makeup, or that you supposedly need for a full face of makeup, that I will not buy anything. I will not do any repurchases. I will not buy anything new. I will use what I have, because I do think that all of those I have enough to go through 1 year and be fine with it. So I do think so. And let me tell you quickly which are those. So those are brows. So anything that's related to brows, I'm not gonna buy anything new there. I have enough, because I only use one palette every time I do that. I always use the Zoeva Brow Spectrum palette, and then I sometimes would use an eyebrow gel, but I don't really need that anyway. But so I decided I am gonna go ahead and not buy any brow products. Next on is primer, so face primer. I'm not gonna buy any more face primers, because I have enough to get through 1 year, I think so. So that's all right. The same goes for foundation, the same goes for concealer, for setting powder, and any kind of bronzer or contour. I always use bronzers, also it's contour powder, like to darken things up. So that's for me kind of the same thing. And also base primer, you know, like what you put, like eyeshadow primer, and also setting spray. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 product types that I'm gonna do a no buy on. Just I think with all of those I have enough to go through 1 year. But if unexpectedly I really run out of all of them, like not just a certain, like, you know, if I run out of my kind of more natural looking foundation, but I still have a matte one, I will not buy a new one. But if I run out of all my foundations, I will buy a new one. I will tell to you, I will let you know then, of course, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't think so. I really think that I can do 1 year without rebuying any of those products that I mentioned. And the only one I'm a bit concerned of is like eyeshadow primer. I do have currently 3 open, but they are all already open, already used, so I'm not entirely sure how much is left. I do think that I can do it, but I'm not entirely sure. So this might be the only product I actually have to break this for, but I don't think so, because I think 3 eyeshadow primers should be enough. They should be enough. And if not, I can still use concealer. So actually, yeah, this is also gonna a no buy on those products. So obviously this brings me to the products that are low buy items, which are eyeshadow in any kind of form, like single eyeshadows, loose pigments, eyeshadow palettes, stuff like that. And then also eyeliners, like everything. Yeah, eyeliners in general, like those types here, which are just like a pencil, as well as liquid liners. Then I'm gonna do a low buy on lip products, so anything that goes around lips, like lip liner. I never buy lip liners actually, so it's already a no buy product, but any kind of lipstick, liquid lipstick, whatever, gloss, stuff like that. Then also for highlighters and for blushes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items I'm going to do a low buy on. So actually I'm just going to buy 5 product types throughout the next throughout 2019. And all the other product types I'm not going to be repurchasing. There's 2 things that I didn't mention. And maybe if you're very attentive, you're gonna know which ones those are. So I am not going to include in any, like, I'm gonna totally exclude 2 things, which is gonna be mascara, because I always have just one mascara. I always have this one, the Lash Princess mascara, the False Effect one from Essence, and I rebuy this every 3 to 4 months. Always. I always do that, and that's what I do. And I actually at the moment have like still 2 backups of those, because I always buy them when they're on offer, like get 3 for and buy 2 or something. And I do think that I can actually, this one I just opened, so I actually think I can almost get throughout the whole year with not buying any of those, but I don't want to use the last month of the year like a dried out mascara. So I'm just gonna repurchase it so it's gonna be excluded from this mascara. As well as liquid black liquid eyeliner, like the one you do your winged liner with, because this is the same like with the mascara. I buy a new one every 3 to 4 months. I always buy the same. I always buy the Zoeva black box cat eye pen, or however it's called. And that's what I like. I just repurchase this. I don't have like those don't apply to the motivational points that I stated in the beginning. Like, if I start now to not repurchase them anymore, that's not gonna help any of the goals that I want to achieve. So that's why I don't include them there. Okay, so those were the items divided by no buy items and low buy items. Also, I want to mention I am not going to include any kind of skincare related stuff. Like, I'm pretty much a makeup related channel. I don't really do skincare or anything like that, so that's all excluded. I don't have like this kind of big buying thing going on with skincare anyway. I buy I buy one item, I use it up, and that's it. That's what I do with skincare, so I am not including it, because it's also not going to help the goals that I want to achieve to include skincare into that. So my rule is going to be for the low buy items, so the product types, the product items that I allow myself to buy, which are, to conclude it again, eyeshadows, eyeliner, except of black liquid liner, lips and highlighter and blush. So for those product types, I'm going to allow myself to buy 2 per month. And I don't mean 2 of each per month, but like 2 from all of those per month. Like, if I buy in January 1 eyeshadow palette and 1 blush, then the 2 items are fulfilled. So in general, I will buy all together next year, or I'm pre-filming this a little bit, so it's gonna be from my point of view next year, from your point of view probably this year, or maybe soon to be this year. I don't know yet when I'm posting this. So what I wanted to say is that it's all over 2019. I'm gonna purchase 24 makeup products, which are within those product types that I mentioned. And also, those are transferable from month to month. So if, for example, in January I only buy 1 item, I carry 1 item to the next month, and that goes over. So if I don't buy anything till November, which is not going to happen, in December I can buy 24 items, which is not going to happen, but you get the point. So I don't have any rules for falsies yet, because if you maybe heard like one of my earlier videos that I was trying to get myself into falsies, I'm still super bad at it. I still don't have a good grip on it, and I still have like a bunch of them, like laying around that I'm sometimes practicing with, but I don't have yet my routine that I always put falsies or something like this, or that I decided like just to abandon that. And so I don't really know yet. Like from my point of view, those that I have now are enough to just toy around with it once in a while. But in case throughout 2019 I really get into falsies, then I will be, of course, implementing a rule for those and see if I implement them in the low buy items and maybe raise the item number, or just let everything be the same and just include them in the low buy items. I don't know yet. And also I'm gonna consider bundles as one item. So that means if I, for example, buy a lip set of 4 minis or something, that this is gonna be one item. And for eyeshadows, so for single eyeshadows or loose pigments, I consider 10 single eyeshadows, I consider one item, because an eyeshadow palette for me perfectly is around the number of 10 pans. So I thought, okay, so 10 single eyeshadows, if I make an order from one brand, is gonna be count as one item. So because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Like if I just buy one, I'm more likely not to use it because I don't feel like it grooves with the others, you know. Then I'm buying like a curated little collection from a brand with 10 eyeshadows, and that I'm more likely to use in the end. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, those were the rules. Maybe I forgot something. If I forgot something, I will make up and I will make the rules like throughout the year. Probably I will realize at some point like, oh, you didn't think about that, you didn't think about that, and I will tackle it as soon as it appears. That's how I do things. And let's also tip on quickly on how this is going to change my content. So obviously I'm not going to be able to review that much anymore, especially eyeshadow palettes, but I still going to be buying 2 items per month, which I'm going to be reviewing usually most of the time, first impression and then a review. So this is going to be still there, so that's just a bit less. But I was thinking to do kind of like a revisit series, which is like strongly like a how you call it, throwback series. But I was thinking to do like go to old palettes that I haven't used since a lot of time or haven't used in a while, and that I had like a certain how do you say, like that I know how I feel about them and back then, and revisit them and see if today I still like them, I still would use them for the same kind of styles, if I would still give it like the same verdict, let's say, today as I did back then. And then obviously do also a look and stuff. So a little bit of a throwback series comparing the past to today's opinions. And then I also thought to do like a little bit of a lookbook thing, you know, like things where you pick a topic and then you create looks around this topic, which kind of gives into my like what I want to achieve, to be a bit more creative. Then I have like a series of what items I almost bought. So what items I was super tempted to buy and included in these 2 items per month that I'm allowed to buy now, and what in the end may kick them out, you know, like what is the final thing that kicked them out and why I didn't buy it. Then I also really looking forward maybe to do like dupes, like go from my collection and say like, okay, dupe that palette kind of thing. It's also an existing concept, so kind of palettes that are being released, trying to find a dupe within my collection. And then I also want to go into creating my own palettes, like themed palettes, maybe saying like, okay, so I have like this theme and from my collection I'm going to create a palette with matching this theme. And then I'm also definitely want to starting a project pan. This was really wrong grammarly, right? I want to start a project pan in 2019. This video should be soon, very soon up, within the next week or something like this. So this is also something I want to do. I'm going to sharing this experience, and of course I'm going to be doing check-ins, so letting you a little bit know how it goes. This is going to be a bit irregularly because I don't want to update you if nothing changed for me personally, that I didn't make like a revelation out of it. So this will be something that will be coming sporadically your way, if you want to. And then of course, let me know what you want to see. Like, what do you want to see? Is there something specific to the low buy that you would like to see? Or in general, like, what do you want to, what would you love to see in 2019 here in this space that we can talk about together and stuff like that? So let me know also, that would be cool. And yeah, so that's it. It got much longer, this video, than I wanted it to be, but I really wanted to let you know my thought process behind this. And I would love if you let me know like how you are like in 2019, if you are having like kind of a low buy year or a no buy year even, or if you're just like, no, I'm just gonna go full in, girl, and I don't care. And that's fine as well, you know. It's not that I don't want that kind of people here around my channel. I love to speak to people that buy viciously and live, like my friend Meg always says, and live viciously through them. So that's really, really cool. And so let me know your thoughts on makeup purchases, and what are your goals in 2019 regarding to makeup? Maybe that would be also really cool to know. So anyway, that's it. I would love if you give this video a thumbs up. If you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel so you can see all the content that I have been just describing. And then I will see you here in my next video. Bye bye.